Good morning, everyone. I hope you're staying warm and cozy wherever you are. Today, we're diving into what's ahead for the upcoming winter season, and trust me, there's a lot to unpack. It's Al Roker here, and I'm excited to look ahead to the winter of 2025 to 26. Whether you're a snow lover or someone who dreads scraping ice off your windshield, this winter promises to keep us all on our toes. This year, the signals are fuzzy, almost like trying to read a street sign in the middle of a blinding snowstorm. The usual patterns we rely on to predict the weather are shifting, making it harder than ever to say exactly what's coming next. One week, you might find yourself stepping outside in a t-shirt, enjoying an unseasonably warm day. The next, you could be bundled up, shoveling your driveway after a surprise blizzard. The swings in temperature and weather conditions are expected to be dramatic, so flexibility will be key. Unpredictable winters don't just make for interesting conversations, they affect our daily lives in real, tangible ways. From getting stuck in traffic jams on icy roads to watching your heating bills climb as the temperature drops, these changes impact everyone. Families will need to keep a close eye on their thermostats, and commuters should be prepared for sudden changes in road conditions. For farmers, the stakes are even higher. A sudden freeze or unexpected thaw can mean the difference between a successful harvest and a devastating loss. Crops are sensitive to even small changes in temperature, and livestock need extra care when the weather turns harsh. Rural communities, in particular, will be watching the forecasts closely, hoping for a season that's kind to their fields and animals. Cities and towns across the country are already gearing up for whatever winter might throw their way. That means getting fleets of snowplows and salt trucks ready to roll at a moment's notice. Municipal workers are checking equipment, stockpiling supplies, and reviewing emergency plans to make sure they can respond quickly to storms, ice, and freezing rain. So, what's behind all this uncertainty? A mix of factors, including shifting patterns in the Pacific Ocean, like El Niño and La Niña, which can dramatically influence our weather. These oceanic changes send ripples through the atmosphere, affecting everything from jet streams to storm tracks. The atmosphere is like a giant, ever-changing puzzle, and right now, some of the key pieces are moving in unexpected ways. Meteorologists are working overtime to fit these pieces together, analyzing new data and updating their models as conditions evolve. Forecasters are glued to their screens, watching for any clues that might help them predict what's coming. They're looking at satellite images, radar data, and computer models, all in an effort to give us the most accurate forecast possible. But with so many variables in play, even the experts admit this winter's a tough one to call. We'll break down the big weather drivers, like ocean temperatures, atmospheric pressure systems, and shifting wind patterns, and explain how climate change is making forecasting even more complicated. As our planet warms, the rules of the game are changing, leading to more extreme and unpredictable weather events. To help put things in perspective, we'll also revisit some of the most surprising winters from recent years. From unexpected snowstorms in the south to record-breaking cold snaps in the north, history shows us that Mother Nature always has a few tricks up her sleeve. Most importantly, we'll share practical tips to help you prepare for whatever this winter brings. That means putting together an emergency kit, making sure your home is well insulated, and having a plan in place in case of power outages or severe storms. Preparation is your best defense against the unexpected, so grab your coffee, settle into your favorite chair, and get comfortable. Whether you're a weather enthusiast or just want to stay safe and warm, we're here to guide you through the season ahead. Let's talk about what's on the horizon and how you can be ready for whatever winter has in store. Let's begin by exploring two of the most influential forces shaping our planet's weather, El Niño and La Niña. These are not just names you hear on the news, they are powerful climate patterns that originate in the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean and have ripple effects across the globe. Often called the Pacific Ocean's puppet masters, El Niño and La Niña act like invisible hands, pulling the strings of weather systems far beyond the ocean itself. Their influence stretches from Asia to the Americas, affecting everything from rainfall to temperature, and even the frequency of hurricanes. One of their most dramatic impacts is on the jet stream, a fast-moving river of air high above us. Depending on which phase is active, El Niño or La Niña, the jet stream can be pushed north or south, steering storms and shaping the weather patterns that millions of people experience each year across North America. During El Niño years, warm waters spread across the central and eastern Pacific, releasing extra heat into the atmosphere. This often brings wetter, cooler conditions to the southern United States, leading to increased rainfall, more frequent storms, and sometimes even flooding. People in these regions may notice cooler temperatures and a higher chance of cloudy, rainy days. Meanwhile, the northern states often experience the opposite, milder and drier winters. Snowfall can be reduced, and temperatures may be warmer than usual, making for a less harsh winter season. This shift can impact everything from agriculture to winter sports. In contrast, La Niña cools the Pacific waters, which tends to push the jet stream northward. This shift brings more storms and precipitation to the Pacific Northwest and the Ohio Valley, resulting in wetter, stormier winters in those areas. At the same time, the southern U.S. often sees warmer and drier conditions. These alternating patterns, El Niño and La Niña, are part of a larger cycle known as the El Niño Southern Oscillation, or ENSO. This cycle is a key driver of year-to-year climate variability, and scientists closely monitor it to help predict seasonal weather trends. By understanding which phase of ENSO we're in, meteorologists can make more accurate predictions about what kind of winter to expect. This knowledge helps communities prepare for everything from droughts to floods, and even plan for energy and food needs. But for the winter of 2025 to 26, things are a bit different. We're currently in a neutral phase. Neither El Niño nor La Niña is dominating. This adds an extra layer of mystery and uncertainty to the forecast, making it harder to predict exactly what the season will bring. In a neutral year, other factors can play a bigger role, so meteorologists will be watching closely to see how the weather unfolds. In an ENSO-neutral phase, the Pacific's usual influence is absent. The jet stream wanders unpredictably, making forecasting challenging. Without El Niño or La Niña, smaller, harder-to-predict patterns take control. This winter could bring a grab bag of weather: extreme cold in some areas, unusual warmth in others. Storm tracks may shift dramatically, making long-range forecasts tough. Instead of a clear trend, expect back-and-forth swings in temperature and precipitation. Stay updated with the latest forecasts as short-term predictions become critical. When winter arrives and temperatures plummet, you might hear meteorologists mention the polar vortex. But what exactly is it, and why does it matter so much during the coldest months of the year? Let's break down the science behind this powerful force that shapes our winters and can turn an ordinary cold snap into a record-breaking deep freeze. The polar vortex is a massive area of low pressure and extremely cold air that swirls high above the North Pole, encircling the Arctic region. Think of it as a giant, invisible ring of icy wind spinning counterclockwise in the upper atmosphere. This frigid air mass is always present, but it becomes especially important during winter, when it can influence weather patterns far beyond the Arctic Circle. Normally, a strong jet stream, a fast-moving ribbon of air, acts like a barrier, keeping the coldest Arctic air locked up near the pole. This jet stream flows from west to east, separating the polar vortex from the milder air to the south. As long as the jet stream remains strong and stable, the polar vortex stays put, and most of us are spared from its harshest effects. However, when the jet stream weakens or becomes wavy, it can allow chunks of the polar vortex to break off and spill southward. These lobes of cold air can plunge deep into North America, Europe, or Asia, bringing sudden and severe cold snaps that catch many off guard. When this happens, cities that are usually chilly can experience dangerously low temperatures, icy winds, and even record-breaking snowfall. These Arctic outbreaks can disrupt travel, strain power grids, and pose serious health risks, especially for vulnerable populations. The strength and stability of the polar vortex can be influenced by sudden stratospheric warming events, rare but powerful bursts of heat that disrupt the upper atmosphere. When these events occur, they can weaken the vortex, making it more likely to send frigid air southward. During winters, when the ENSO, or El Niño Southern Oscillation, is neutral, the behavior of the polar vortex becomes even more critical in determining our weather. Without the influence of El Niño or La Niña, the polar vortex can be the main driver of winter's unpredictability. If the vortex remains strong, winter may be milder, but if it weakens, waves of bitter Arctic air can sweep across continents, making forecasts challenging and keeping everyone on their toes. Understanding the polar vortex helps us prepare for whatever winter has in store. Climate change is the elephant in the room, altering weather patterns. A warming planet makes historical patterns less reliable. The Arctic is warming faster, weakening the jet stream and leading to extreme weather. More moisture in the atmosphere means storms have more fuel, leading to heavier snowfall or ice storms. Climate change increases the potential for unprecedented events, complicating forecasts. Let's revisit winters that defied expectations. The winter of 2011-12 was a strong La Niña year, yet it was one of the warmest on record. A positive Arctic oscillation kept cold air locked at the North Pole. In contrast, the winter of 2009-10, a moderate El Niño year, brought snowmageddon. A negative North Atlantic oscillation created a blocking pattern, leading to massive blizzards. These examples show that even strong signals can be overpowered by other factors. The winter of 2013-14 made polar vortex a household name. A weakened vortex brought brutal cold to much of the U.S. Temperatures plunged, with wind chills reaching life-threatening levels. Infrastructure failed, with train tracks cracking and water mains bursting. The pattern locked in with repeated waves of Arctic air. This event shows how a weak vortex can dominate a winter's weather pattern. In an ENSO-neutral year, a similar breakdown is possible, so we watch the Arctic closely. You can't control the weather, but you can prepare your home. Check your heating system and ensure it's ready for winter. Seal drafts around windows and doors to save on heating bills. Insulate pipes in unheated areas to prevent freezing. Have an emergency kit with flashlights, batteries, and non-perishable food. Trim tree branches and clean gutters to prevent damage from snow and ice. Stock up on winter supplies like salt and shovels. Beyond home prep, have a plan for staying safe and informed. Pay attention to the forecast and monitor updates closely. Have an emergency plan for your family and an emergency kit in your car. Stay home during severe weather if possible, and check on neighbors. The winter of 2025-26 will be unpredictable, but preparation is key. By taking simple steps now, you can face winter with confidence. We'll be here every morning, tracking storms and keeping you informed.